Update. My 36 male family is upset I'm prioritizing my brother-in-law over my niece after my sister 27 female cheated. Original story. My sister married 27 female met her husband Tom 29 male when she was attending college out of state and he was stationed near her campus with the army. After he got out, she dropped out of school so they could move to our home state at her request, so we've been the only family he's had here. They have a 3-year-old daughter, Jane. Not long ago, a guy, call him Bill, reached out to Tom on Facebook and told him that he saw my sister has a 3-year-old kid and that there's a possibility my niece may be his child. He and my sister had been having an affair from the time they moved home, until shortly after she found out she was pregnant. He had to move away for work and my sister never mentioned pregnancy to him or that she was married. Tom confronted Mary and eventually she admitted to the affair. 2 paternity tests later, it was confirmed my niece is not Tom's child. He has been devastated. Bill wants to be in Jane's life, but my sister and family are staunchly against this. They say Jane already has a dad, Tom. Tom has been going to counseling since Biodad first reached out to him, and he just cannot see Jane the way he used to or be around her or talk about her without breaking down. He says it hurts too much, and he feels like his life has been based on a lie. Nor can you really imagine staying in her life with Bill around. Since they separated, I have been letting Tom stay at my place since he has no family here. My sister thinks I'm out of line letting Tom stay, and that I'm depriving my niece of her uncle. She doesn't want Jane here so long as I'm supporting Tom. Fair, I guess. And Tom has offered that he would go to friends or out if I wanted to babysit or spend time with my niece. Also fair. Personally, I sympathize with Tom. I'm not an affair baby, but my mother was pregnant with me when she met my sibling's father. He made a stipulation that it'd stick around, but my bio-dad and bio-family could not be around, and my mother agreed. He treated me differently once my sister and brothers were born, and even more so after he and my mother divorced. My paternal family reached out eventually, and I learned the truth and got to know them. This pissed off my adopted dad to no end, but his family as well. Said it was a slap in the face that I would even want to know my other family. They were my family, and it was ungrateful of me to forsake all of that. I don't want my niece to possibly go through that. Getting stuck between families is the worst. So I've been helping Tom find out more about Bill and mediating between them when they talk. Bill seems like a real stand-up guy with positive people around him and wants to take my sister to court for custody and brother-in-law as well to get taken off the birth certificate. I support both of them in these decisions and have offered to help if they need it. My sister is mad at me, but I have told her and our family that she should only be mad at herself. None of this would even be happening if she hadn't played eeny meeny miny mo with her kid's dad. My family thinks I'm prioritizing Tom and Bill over my own niece, that I should be shaming him for abandoning his daughter, and that I am turning my back on her. But I don't think I am. I also think that Tom deserves some kind of support through all of this. I could really use some outside perspective. Is this really a wrong stance for me to take? Or should I back off because my family is right about Tom needing to stick around and shun Bill? Now for the top advice before reading the update. Sorry, your sister needs to, figuratively, be set on fire. She is the reason this happened. Paternity fraud, cheating, lying, just scum. There are 3 victims here: Jane, Tom, and Bill. I understand Tom's position. I don't think I could raise another man's child. I honestly believe it would be my worst nightmare if my son wasn't mine. It doesn't matter what your family thinks. Bill is right, he is going to be involved, they need to deal with this. It seems everything he has done is honorable. Reaching out must have been hard. This has got to be awful for Jane. My heart breaks for her. Luckily, there are still a large number of people fighting to be involved. I think she's going to be okay. Fortunately, she is really young too. What a piece of work Mary is. I hope you are doing okay. You sound like a fantastic uncle. Especially as Opie has literally been in Jane's position. If anyone can understand and support her through this, it's clearly him. Stand firm, Opie. You're a good person. Keep standing tall. This whole situation is in your sister's head, but she's trying to blame you for supporting 2 of the 3 victims of her shenanigans. It sounds like you were the scapegoat of the family. You're not putting the 2 men above your knees. Your sister is weaponizing her. She's the one not allowing you to see her. Don't buy into their manipulative BS. Your sister could very easily set up times where you can visit your niece, go on an outing to the park, for example, etc. She's the one putting the kibosh on this. I find it admirable that you are ultimately benefiting your niece by clearing up her paternity situation and allowing her bio dad to claim his rights to her. I especially find it admirable that you are supporting your brother-in-law after the massive betrayal that he has endured via your sister's hand. Keep walking tall and don't lower yourself to your family's non-existent ethics. Your family is supporting the woman who cheated on her husband, had a baby with another man, and never told anyone. They don't get a say. I find it just disgusting that their argument is that you don't get to see your niece if Tom is living with you. They don't seem to have a problem with your niece not seeing Tom, the only dad she's known, or for Pete's sake her newly revealed bio dad. Your want to support Tom and mediate with Bill is admirable, Opie. You are a good person. It's such a leap in logic they're applying to. They won't let Opie see his niece because the child's not father is there, but they have unilaterally decided the not father is the father and therefore must take responsibility for her. While I understand guys who stay in kids' lives after a discovery like this is made, you can't blame them for walking away either. Niece is only 3 anyways, and the fact is that if he left now, she'd never even remember him. It's basically a screw you fall in line tactic my family is prone to using in people. I enjoy seeing my niece, but I'm not supporting my sister and joining my family in telling Tom to drop the divorce and reconcile. Instead, I'm saying nothing about what he should do regarding their marriage and supporting him in his decision to get off the birth certificate. I offered him a place to stay versus telling him to go home or to find some place else to stay until he can move. It's less about not letting Tom be around her and more about punishing me so long as I go against the grain. And now for the update. Firstly, thank you everyone for your comments, messages, insights, and support. It really helped me strengthen my resolve and find solace in what I was doing. I'll address a few concerns/questions that popped up before my mini update. Yes, Bill knows Jane is his. When Tom got his paternity test done, he and Bill had him go separately to be tested. Why am I letting Tom stay with me? Well, he was family for years. And for me, you don't just chuck family onto the streets except for extreme situations. Divorce takes a year in my state, and Tom is opting to stay to make sure it can all be handled quickly and smoothly to get it finalized as soon as possible. That said, he plans on moving back to his home state after that, so I'm letting him stay with me so he can save money for his move and moving expenses. Otherwise, the only places he could afford on his own require 6 and 12 months leases. Supporting Tom and Bill may result in my sister and I having little to no contact. True, it may, and that'll be our crosses to bear. But I can't find it in me to ignore others needing help just to satiate her and excuse her behavior. I still love my sister. Whatever my feelings or opinions of what she did or is doing have no place in this, nor it is really the time for me to go expressing them to her. Bill's lawyer says it's very likely Bill will wind up with a custody arrangement, and he has assured me that if things do go south with my sister, that she won't let me see my niece. I'd always be welcome to visit them to see her during his time with her. Now for the update. It's not a huge one, but rather surprising. My sister is still being cranky and doubling down, doing all she can to guilt Tom into reconciling, and adamant about Bill not being involved because she has a husband that just needs to realize they can work through this. Tom is Jane's dad and Bill is not needed. So, meh there. Last week, I went on a fishing trip with both Tom and Bill for the 3 of us to just relax and forget all this nonsense for a bit. Once we got back, my mother showed up to try talking to me about why I'm doing any of this. Surprisingly, we had a decent talk after some heated tension. I wound up showing her the post, and while she wasn't happy I was airing our laundry, it helped a bit. Ultimately, I was able to get it through to her that given the circumstances and the high probability Bill is going to be a presence in Jane's life from here on out, the best thing for Jane would be if our family and Bill could at least coexist. I asked her how she would feel if her granddaughter was constantly having to choose who to spend time with for birthdays, graduation, prom pictures, etc., or God forbid, we all put her in a position that she would have to lie to everyone about what she wanted just to not hurt feelings. It took a while, but that seemed to at least get through to her a bit. She's still not happy about the whole situation, but she did agree to a dinner in a public place to meet Bill and some of his family, and I'm happy to say that that wound up going off really well, and Bill's mother had a good heart-to-heart with her. So, some progress. Thanks again everyone for the support. Opie, you truly are a stellar human being. If you are not a counselor or mediator, you should probably look into it as an alternative career. Just amazing how you brought everyone together. Hugs to you. Damn. So your sister lied to both of these men for years and now expects them and everyone else to bend to her will? It sounds like you, Tom, and Bill have Jane's best interests in mind more than your sister or parents do. Kudos to you for doing the right thing. Writers of cheap romances couldn't write a character with this level of entitlement even with 10 pens. Opie's sister messed up and has to face the music. I'm still surprised anyone is listening to your sister. She married Tom, cheated on him with Bill and became pregnant, unbeknownst to Bill, and then decided Tom was who she wanted to be the father. She doesn't get to decide that for Pete's sake. If I were Tom, I'd skedaddle too. And the fact that Bill contacted them to stand up and be a father speaks to his character. Maybe it will rub off on your sister. You are a great person, Opie. You actually seek harmony and what is best for Jane. She's lucky to have you. How is Jane doing in all of this? It must be hard when your dad disappears one day. Is she okay with it? Yeah. It's not just Bill and Tom who are hurt. Jane is a victim too. 3 people's lives have become emotional wrecks due to the actions of one person. I can't understand why paternity fraud isn't a crime. Now for the next story. Ex passed away, and I'm finding out we had a son together. Her family wants me to have custody. What should I do? We broke up way before I, 25 male, learned about this, and I'm still not sure what to think. Recently found out not only that she passed away, but we have a 7-month-old son. Her family was telling her before that I needed to know, but she kept putting it off. So now with what happened, they felt I needed to be told and take part in his life. Just to be sure, I asked for a paternity test and got the results now. It's definitely mine, so that's freaked me out more. This has made it so much more real. I really don't know what to do now. Every time I think about it, it all gets overwhelming. I feel like I'm gonna get an anxiety attack. Then sometimes I get so angry that she never told me because I absolutely had a right to know about this from the beginning and be there for my son. Now all of a sudden, I'm a single dad expecting to take care of a baby I didn't know existed less than a few weeks ago. Her mom says she can help out, but can't take him full time. Her sister's still in college. That's why they really need me and say my son needs me. I don't know what I'm going to do. I want to do the right thing, but I'm scared I'm gonna mess this up so bad. I don't want to mess this poor kid up, and I'm gonna be the only parent who knows. Tomorrow is the first time I'm supposed to meet him. I'm so nervous and freaked out about everything going on. My parents say I'm gonna be a great dad, but I'm not sure about that, or how I'm gonna manage with a baby suddenly with me. I'm really looking for any advice on this. Please, can someone help me how to navigate everything going on? Now for the top advice. The fact that you're worried about messing up is a good, healthy, normal thing. I've been doing it for 20 years and still get that panic. Acceptance is the first key. Does Opie need to get custody? Can he just say no? Can he take on the uncle role if he wants? How does this work? I feel like everyone is saying good luck, Opie. Like, what are his options? I am a female, so I guess I couldn't be in this position, but this all seems really unfair to Opie. And if he wants out, I feel that's his right. He can give up parental rights and put the baby up for adoption, but it doesn't even remotely sound like this is something he wants to do. I'll let you in on a secret. No one is ever ready to be a parent, even the ones that planned it out. And the other secret is once you start being a parent, you will be better at it than you thought you would. Take advantage of your support group, and it's natural to worry, but we'll be okay. When you're in that quiet moment, laying down with your son peacefully sleeping on your chest, you will understand it's all worth it. This is great. Also, the biggest indicator for you being a good parent is that you're scared crapless about messing up and being a bad one. The people who turn out to be terrible parents never cared if they were going to be good or bad ones. Opie being scared and seeing how huge a responsibility this is, literally a great indicator for him doing well. Some Swedish author had this to say about parenthood. Give your children love, 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 and more love, and the rest will follow. Just be there for your kid. Teach them, learn from them, read to them, even starting now. When they're old enough to talk, listen and hear what they have to say. This won't be easy, but you got this. Didn't know about the sub. Gonna be checking out, so thanks. This is all so crazy overwhelming. Last story is titled, My ex wanted me to spend Father's Day with her son. I used to date Laura for 3 years, and she had a 6-year-old boy, Timmy. Timmy and I were pretty close, But Laura and I weren't in love and decided to break things off. Timmy and I met occasionally afterwards because he insisted on it. 2 years later, I got married to the love of my life and we just had a son. Laura was really pissed because now her son was going to take a backseat to my own. I explained to her that her son should move on, but she insisted I still be in his life. It was my first Father's Day yesterday, and I spent it with my dad and son. It was 3 generations of family, and I almost teared up. That was until I found Timmy at my doorstep wishing me Happy Father's Day. I was shocked, and Laura had already driven off. I included Timmy in the festivities, but I was damn pissed. When Laura came to pick him up, I just sent him off. I'm thinking of bringing in Timmy one more time and telling him I'm not his dad or pretend dad, and I don't want to see him anymore. Would this be going too far? Well, Timmy is a kid. He obviously feels like you're a father figure in his life. You need to have a talk with Laura, who is enabling this. Laura's nuts. She is feeding Timmy lies which will eventually hurt him. If she does this again, let him in and report his mom for abandoning him on your doorstep. What if something happened after she left him and drove off? What if you weren't even home? She put him in a very dangerous situation, and I personally wouldn't let her off easy. Absolutely going too far. This is a child, a young boy who looks up to you as a father figure. Why willingly crush him? Any problems you have should be handled directly with your ex, his mother. Tell her you're sorry, but you're not his dad and don't have a father/son bond with him. You've moved on and have your own child and would appreciate if she left you alone. I feel sorry for that poor boy. I've told her again and again, but she's borderline crazy. If she keeps dropping the kid off on you after you've expressed all of this, it's time to tell her that if she does it again, you're going to report her for child abandonment or something. She can't force you into a relationship or even to be a babysitter. That's nuts. I may need a restraining order.
Update. Am I the a-hole for planning on ending our relationship because he acts like his daughter is heiress to my things? This is an update to the story posted yesterday. Link in the description. We formally broke up today, and he made it very difficult to focus on our conversation. He interrupted me every 5 seconds and was in denial for almost half of it. I asked to meet at a small restaurant, public place strategy, to avoid any type of drama. I tried to be respectful, but definitely wanted to bring up my uneasiness and feelings about his behavior. He tried to brush it off at first, but when I insisted, he evaded the subject. I told him what he already knows. My children are my priority as a sole provider, and I want to ensure that they have their needs covered. There were some comments on my other post that I had thought about but hadn't verbalized, like, what would he leave my kids? Or what's his plan for his own kid? I know he doesn't have much, but that's no excuse. When I established the comparison between what he wanted for his kid versus what he would give to mine, his face changed, like I was greedy and he was insulted. He said my kids don't have a dad and that he can provide a paternal figure. This triggered me so much that I had to try and keep my volume in check. My thought is that being there like a piece of furniture in exchange for financial benefits for his own kid is acceptable to him. I would have loved for my kids to have a decent dad, but that's just not in the cards. And right now, I'm better off alone than with Ben. I was so angry that he kept asking me to calm down. He said he's leaving his daughter with good knowledge on life in general, because there are things that only he can offer since her mom is too secular, whatever that means, and I didn't ask him. I said that we needed to break up, and he immediately got upset and left our table. I thought he was gone, but he came back later and claimed he only went to use the restroom. I told him that I can't share any part of my life with him after he behaved like a gold digger, and that even if I were able to get past this, I would never even consider getting back together because his intentions are entitled and dishonest. All in all, I'm just glad that we weren't alone. He has high blood pressure issues. Real, I've seen the medication. And sometimes I've suspected some types of mental health issues, going from 0 to 100 over things that seemed incongruent. He said he was truly sorry if he offended me and said that he felt tricked and betrayed. That breaks are meant for introspection and to seek improvement, not to abandon a relationship. That my actions will have an impact on his daughter because she really likes me. I offered to have a last call or text with her if he agreed, but his answer was, "No, F you don't get to say anything to her." He said that I'm caught up in my new mainstream life. Whatever that means, it's freaking offensive considering that I've worked for my financial stability after a few years of things being great. He told me to go suck on my colleagues' junks, but immediately apologized. I told him I'm not surprised at his behavior, since it shows me that he seems to think sex can solve anything. I also said that since he was being gross and vulgar, I'm learning just now that men like him are unfuckable, homosexual, handout seekers, and insincere, and that I will never date someone who is not financially stable ever again, because this is a huge lesson. I wish that I could say that I had left him sitting alone at the table, but he left first. When I was about to get my handbag to pay for my food, he rushed to get his backpack and walked off really quick. I blocked him everywhere, but I already changed my locks. He never had a key, nor did he stay over, but I'm just being cautious. He called one of our friends in common to vent about me, and she ended up angry with him because he was very insistent that I had mistreated him, and she told him that she needed to hear my side of the story. She and I had a long conversation, and she told me that she can't blame me because our group of friends had been noticing the imbalance in our relationship and how he seemed comfortable, including himself in conversations about business and success when, in the 16 years that she's known him, he's never gotten anything done. So that's my update. I also blocked him on social media and messaging apps. Thank you for the update. Secular usually means not religious. I'm guessing that based on the rest of the picture you've painted of this man, that his ex doesn't respect his patriarchal rights to tell her her own business and manage her own finances. He sounds like a manipulative partner at best. I don't think you would have ever wanted him as a father figure to your sons. Thanks for the clarification. OP's ex really seemed to think he was entitled to her life, her money, and her kids' future, like it was part of some twisted inheritance plan. And is secular being code for not under my control? Please. That man wasn't looking for a partner. He was out here shopping for a sponsor with a side of authority. Good riddance. OP didn't just dodge a bullet. She dodged an entire financial and emotional demolition team. Definitely dodged a massive bullet. This guy was clearly trying to use you as his retirement plan and a financial support system for his daughter while offering nothing but paternal figure BS in return. His explosion when confronted shows his true colors. The vulgar comments, emotional manipulation about his daughter, and weird accusations about your mainstream life are classic tactics of someone who got caught being predatory. Love that you stood your ground and called out his homosexual behavior. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. His behavior really screamed desperation and entitlement. It's telling that he tried to guilt trip you with his daughter instead of taking responsibility. You deserve someone who respects your boundaries and values. Here's to moving on and finding better. Next story. Am I the a-hole for no longer wanting to give a house to my sister? My portion of inheritance. A few years ago, our mom passed away unexpectedly, and she didn't have a will, so splitting the assets has been more of a headache than any of us anticipated. Most of us, multiple siblings involved, believe we need to prioritize relationships with each other because we understand the long-term damage that feuding over material things after someone's death can bring to families. Our mom loved her house and spent her time turning it into a dream home before her death. Some didn't want it sold off. It was then proposed that one of our sisters, who has young children, be given the house because she was looking at travel trailers for housing, and it would be a long-term, affordable, and stable home. At that time, the sale of the house to her and her husband wasn't an option because they couldn't get approved for a loan. They were told they needed to prepare themselves to get a loan for the house in case the loan wasn't assumable. And unfortunately, they didn't do that, so to this day they still wouldn't qualify to buy it. We agreed on a nice idea, to each give the gift of our own inheritance, with an unspoken understanding that they'd plan on staying there long term. While we figured out the legal stuff, They moved in and paid the mortgage until things were made official. Unfortunately, shortly after moving in, our sister's husband would tell friends and his family that his plan was to sell the house within the next 2 years or rent it out and move. This understandably caused upset because it felt like he was looking at an opportunity to profit, not seeking long-term stability. We proposed a stipulation stating that they'd have to reside in the home for 5 years before it would be transferred solely to them, as proof that they were serious about making it their home. But her husband got really upset and wouldn't hear us out. We asked our sister what their plan was, and she said it depended on her husband's work situation, that moving wasn't off the table or fully on it, but she felt 2 years was long enough to consider it long-term. With all of this coming to light, a few of the siblings no longer wanted to sign because they didn't feel it would be fair to end up with none of the equity from a short-term living situation. We sought acknowledgement that they understood this was a huge gift and sacrifice of our inheritances, hoping he would show some gratitude so we could feel good about signing and move on, but he was not receptive. He feels that because he's done some work on the house and has paid the mortgage, it is his. It no longer feels wise to hand over my portion heedlessly, not because of the money, but because of the morality and ethics of it all. With the new information about their plans to possibly sell the property after only a short time, the sense of entitlement, and the lack of acknowledgement for how big of a gift this really is. Am I the a-hole for no longer wanting to give away my portion of the inheritance? Not the a-hole. If sis can't buy it, then she doesn't get the profits from selling it. I get not wanting to sell it to keep it in your family, but why give it to just one sibling? They're already thinking about the money in their pockets after selling their gift house. Nope. We wanted them to own the house, grow as a family, and we didn't feel it would be right to have any sense of entitlement to the equity if they were there long-term, since they were paying and caring for it. It was the plans of selling quickly and profiting off of our generosity that put a sour taste on our tongues. Most of my siblings are extremely giving, humble people without a greedy bone in their body. At the time, it felt right to send them off into life with a leg up, and we could sleep well knowing our nieces were in a beautiful home. It may have felt right at the time, but they have shown their true colors. Sell the house and take your rightful inheritance. I agree. Sell the house. And sister and a-hole brother-in-law will get their portion to do with what they will. They're not aligned with OP's values. Not the a-hole. I'm honestly not understanding the original decision anyway. Even if the sister and brother-in-law had agreed to live there for 5 years, it seems mad to me that all the siblings would gift their entire inheritance, just so the property stays in the family for 5 more years. If it's really non-negotiable that the property can't be sold straight away, can the house not stay owned by all siblings, and the sister and brother-in-law just live there at a rent that covers the mortgage? At that point, it was everyone just wanting to do a nice thing in our mom's memory, an act of love and an equitable choice to help our sister. As of now, the house is owned by all of us and will remain that way until the day comes when nobody lives in it, and nobody wants to have to cover the mortgage. I don't think we will collectively agree to sign it over to my sister and her husband anymore. Isn't it funny how you wanted to avoid the type of squabble that happens between selfish siblings by being generous, and you still end up in a squabble? I think you're taking the right step. Next story. Am I the a-hole for taking my grandparents' house? I am 26 female. My grandparents are both 68. My maternal grandparents moved from England to Brooklyn, New York in the 80s and were lucky enough to afford a 5-bedroom townhouse, which they shared with my mom, my aunt, and my uncle. They were young parents, so there was an age gap between my mom and her siblings. For the majority of their early years in America, my grandparents just shared the house with my mom. My mom had me in her teens, so we lived in that house until I was about 10 when she got her own place. We still lived in Brooklyn, and luckily due to what my mom studied, she secured a well-paid career. After receiving an inheritance, she basically managed to buy the house outright. Fast forward to 2015. My mom died suddenly, and I inherited the house along with a substantial amount of money and my own family inheritance, which my grandparents had set up for me and my 4 cousins. The house was a good enough size for me and my then boyfriend. We welcomed a daughter a few months later and later got married. Last year, my husband and I decided to try again for a baby, and I got pregnant quite quickly. We learned we were having twins, and despite the house being 3 bedrooms, we agreed it was too small to raise 3 kids in. Now, house prices in New York are insane anyway, but with the sale of the house and using some of the money I received from the inheritance, we were in a position where we could luckily either buy a 4-bedroom property outright or at least put a large deposit down to lower mortgage costs. Well, it turned out my grandparents were looking to downsize, and I don't know how this came up, but they suggested I could take their house and they could take mine, and I just pay them the difference in what their house is worth. It would be a couple $100,000, but my husband and I had the money. We had a lot of discussions, met with lawyers, and eventually came to an agreement. I'm currently 7 months pregnant, and the sale was finalized. We've all started preparing to move, and it's caused a lot of ill feeling in my family. All my cousins have branded me an a-hole for taking advantage of our grandparents. My grandparents have responded by saying it was their idea, that my husband and I paid them for the property, and that nobody was taken advantage of. My hormones are all over the place, and it's stressing me out, as I don't know if I'm in the wrong or not. Edit. I should add that even if my grandparents kept the house, my aunt and uncle would have received it as an inheritance, as they're my grandparents' children. My cousins would have just received money, and probably some heirlooms or something. Not the a-hole. You wanted a bigger place and they wanted a smaller place. You even paid them the difference in what your houses are worth. It's win-win for everyone, and your cousins just sound jealous, to be honest. Yeah, I'm having a hard time understanding how OP's taking advantage of the grandparents in any way. Jealousy is the only explanation in my eyes, not the a-hole. They're mad because now none of them can sell it once the grandparents kick the bucket. Not the a-hole. They are probably mad that the house that will eventually be up for inheritance won't be worth as much as the one you have bought off your grandparents. Not the a-hole. I'm guessing that's one of the reasons you had lawyers involved, besides the complicated paperwork. They would be there to protect everyone's best interests. Their lawyer wouldn't let them be taken advantage of. I think your family members are more upset that this huge asset was taken out of their very long way off inheritance. If it makes you feel any better, I'm sure your grandparents are happy this house is still in the family and being put to good use while still enjoying money from the sale. It's not like we didn't trust each other. My husband and I are co-owners, but I was the one pretty much fronting the majority of the purchase, and it's a lot of money, so I wanted to be protected. I also have never purchased property before, so lawyers was the best way to go. Not the a-hole. I hope you guys enjoy the new home and congrats on the babies. I have fond memories growing up in it, and the fact I own it now warms my heart. And thank you, having another girl and a little boy. Last story. Am I the a-hole for wanting to back out of doing my sister-in-law a favor cause I don't like that she installed cameras to be on a safe side? My wife used to get our niece ready and take her to daycare every Friday since she was off and her sister had to be at work by 6:30 and daycare did not open until 7. My wife's work schedule changed and she could no longer do it, so I offered to change my schedule around to start work at 10. We have been doing this for around 4 months. My sister-in-law has voiced no concerns, and when she calls, I always answer. We recently found out she installed cameras in her house. When my wife brought it up, she told her, "You never know." I'll be honest, I was taken aback because she has had no complaints in the past, but now she wants to have cameras because you never know? My wife did ask her sister if I had done anything that made her concerned or worried. She said no, but that it was a safety issue. Once again, she told my wife, "You never know." At this point, I told my wife I don't want to go into her house. I don't feel comfortable being in a home or around her daughter if she's that concerned. My wife agrees it is weird, also considering I have known her sister for over 16 years. Others think I am blowing it out of proportion, but I don't like how she assumes the worst of me just because I am male. She told my wife she had no concerns when she was the one doing it. Are you sure the camera was installed specifically to monitor you or for general security? If it is just for you, then check out the team memo that went out yesterday afternoon. It turns out that your schedule has changed and you will no longer be able to start work at 10 o'clock. Yeah, I'd be getting an email from my boss in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 bing, saying I need to go back to coming in at 8 a.m. starting tomorrow. You never know some things, but I know that after that stunt, I'm permanently retired from entering my sister's house, and she can find someone else to provide free childcare. Not the a-hole. She can keep her you never know and switch her hours around. She is waiting for you two to mess up and to destroy your family. Not the a-hole. You stepped up to help, and she repaid you with suspicion. If she doesn't trust you, she can find someone else.